Welcome to the Kawartha Small Business Podcast, where we believe the Kawarthas can be the most thriving region in Canada for small business. I'm Brian Rump from Profit Coach.
And I'm Matt Garrity of Matty G Digital.
All right, Matt, before we get started, if you're listening, head on over to kawarthasmallbusinesspodcast.ca and you can download Matt and Brian's marketing checklist for Kawartha small businesses. All right, Matt, today on that marketing checklist note, we are going to be having a conversation and a little bit of a book review on one of sort of my, I guess, favorite books or favorite books to take quotes from. And that is Alan Dibb's book, The One Page Marketing Plan. A highly recommended read. There's also a free tool you can get off the website. But it is the one page plan that I think every business could have. Um, what do you think about that?
As soon as you said books, I checked out. I didn't hear a word you said after that.
Awesome. So we'll go through it. This is the summary. You won't even have to read the book after you hear me talk about it.
Perfect.
And you've
Is
had the
there a
chance
movie I
to.
can watch, actually?
Yeah, I hear the video's good, but it might be on a movie. But we're taking one page, so every business, and I've done this for my own business. I've done it for people I've worked with, um, and what it illustrates is all the different aspects that are marketing, which we won't dive totally into today. But also shows how hard it is, and I'm hoping people will realize why they need to hire you for parts of it. But this is sort of shows us how it all ties together, and it's really made for small businesses. We're going to go through some of my favorite quotes. You've heard them before. I've said them on the podcast, and I thought let's do a whole episode devoted to this, and we'll talk about it as we go.
You got my attention now that you're trying to convince people to work with me. So yeah, let's go on. Let's hear
All
these
right.
quotes.
So first up, marketing. We focus on marketing because that's where the money is. And this is from some other things I've read, but if you choose to get in business, you choose to be a marketer and you choose to do marketing. There's really no other ways around it, and you need a professional to help you. And professionals have plans, and that's I think something I've adopted just in our own professional mindset is professionals have plans. We're familiar with the 80-20 rule. You know, 20% of your efforts typically get 80% of your results. 20% of your customer base typically is 80% of your profits. What this book tries to do is apply the 80-20 rule to the 80-20 rule. So you get like the 4% of activities that are going to get you 64% of your results. So this book is about what that 4% effort really is that's going to bring you most of those results. What do you think of that? Is that confusing?
No, it makes total sense. I loved what you said about if you get into business, you are a marketer. You are already marketing, and I will tell you, I don't know how many countless people I've spoken to that are starting a business and they're like, well, I'm really not comfortable putting myself out there. And honestly, I always tell them, like, you need to figure that out because you guys are going to be in real trouble soon if nobody knows who you are, what your business does, all that kind of stuff. I had a hard time with that too, I guess, at first, but I hit the ground running, recognizing, like, yes, I'm a marketing company, but also at the same time, it's my livelihood. I was the only person in this house that was bringing in income. My wife was at home with our kids and working there tirelessly. And my kids, unfortunately, are too young to work. They're only 4 and 6. So I was the only one bringing in income to the home. So I needed to be like, I need to get myself out there pronto. I can't be messing around with this. So I also thought it was like really like I haven't thought about the 80-20 rule in a while, but I also like the idea of the micro of like the 4% there because I was thinking yesterday, and because I was thinking about it all weekend, and I guess I will like dive a bit more into why. But I need to make a lot more money. And I hadn't told you this yet. I was going to text you this morning, but I'm like so motivated right now, literally just to make more money. Why? Because I spent a good chunk of the weekend watching kids' videos on YouTube about families that went to Disney World. And I just spent all weekend being pissed that I've not taken my kids to Disney World, that I want nothing more in the world than to take my kids to Disney World right now. And this is something I'd already been talking to someone about a month ago. But now I'm like, no, this is happening. This has got to go. And like I started looking into it more. And it just basically dawned on me. I was like, I need to make more money if I want to take my kids to Disney World. And I'm extremely fortunate to be a small business owner that frankly can go out and make more money because that's one of the benefits of being a small business owner on your own. So I was like, I'm fully motivated right now. Like, I need more money. I want more money. But the thing that's most interesting that ties it back to all this is it's not like I'm going to go to the end of my street with a sign that's like marketing services, please hire me right now. I actually need to spend less time frigging around on stuff. And I need to focus more of my attention and efforts on the things that grow my business, that make me more money. I need to get more involved in sales conversations. I need to get more involved in like not the day to day, but the day to day of like, how am I growing the business today? Am I organizing my leads better? Am I reaching out to them more timely? Not pushing them more, but I've taken my foot off the gas the last couple of weeks where I'm like, I don't know if I want to follow up with this guy. I need to decide like, is this a good account that I could work on? If so, and it can make me a lot more money profitably, I need to put my foot down and talk to that person.
Awesome. Sounds like you need a one-page marketing plan.
I do.
And we'll go through some of that, which is fun. And what you want to do is follow your plan. So one of the fastest ways for a small business to fail is to look at what large and successful competitors are doing with their marketing. Again, looping it back to this plan and my favorite quotes, and then we'll put it in the context of you. But we are here to make money, right? That's what we're here for in business. And large companies, that's not always why they're doing marketing. So when you look at their stuff, or when you want to copy it, or you're like, oh, they have really great social posts, I want to copy those. They have different agendas. So they could be doing marketing, and this is, bigger businesses, organizations. They could be trying to please board of directors. So it's not about clients at all. It's about, oh, the directors will love this, or appeasing shareholders. They could be satisfying the superior's biases. And small business owners could do this too. Like, you're just doing something for your own bias. If you love watching TikToks and you want to have some TikToks, well, here's some TikToks. Are they marketing? Probably not. That's another conversation. It could be satisfying some preconceptions from clients. It could be trying to win advertising and creative awards. They could be getting buy-in from different committees or different stakeholders, could be PR focused. And lastly, at the bottom of that list is making a profit, whereas small business marketing priorities should only be making a profit. You don't have the resources and time to do those other things. It should be about making a profit. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, 100%. Like, you're in business to make money. You're not in business to be authentic. You're not in business to have fun. You're not in business to change the world. And if you think you're going to be able to change the world with your business, I would really, really, really love to hear how you think your marketing is going to change the world. Or how you think like your marketing business, your marketing agency, your web design business is going to be the one out there changing the world.
Without doing marketing.
Yeah, like, we're out there trying to make money. Everything else is just noise and all these things. So
so the one-page plan, so this is the meat of it, and this is, you can look up the plan. Essentially, it's 9 sections on a page, 3 lines of three sections, and you should be able to fit your summary in each section. And there's three parts, sort of before someone's a client, before they're a lead, so when they're a prospect. There's during, when they are a lead, and then there's after they become a customer. There's three sections. So the first section, before they become a prospect, there's my target market. So in your marketing plan, you define who that target market is. You can hire Matt to help you identify some personas and really nail down who that target market is. There is your message to your target market. So that's your core messaging strategy. You can hire me, Brian Rump, Profit Coach, Certified Story Brand Guide, to help you with that message strategy. And then there's the media you're going to use to reach that target market. And that's where you hire Matty G Digital, Starting Point Digital Marketing, to really hone in on what are those the media and sort of actions you're going to use to get that message out to that target market. So we're blasting through this a bit, but those are three distinct things that is just part of 9 parts, but it's the before someone even knows you exist or gets captured in your lead. So what do you think about that?
This is making me think more about how I do sales calls, to be super honest with you, because I've had it happen a couple times lately where I'm on a call with someone and they're like, I need social media. And in my head, I'm like, sure. You also need to be found on Google. You also, if you just need brand awareness, maybe we look at social media ads. There's a lot of things up in the air. So in one of the last 2 times I've had this conversation where I kind of confess I'm not lost, but I say, like, there's a lot going on. You have an opportunity, which is a good thing, to be able to market on every different medium, as you said, or channel, as I might say. So that's a good thing. The bad thing about that is all those things require strategy. All those things require resources. And it's the resource thing that's the biggest challenge for most people that I work with and most people that do marketing. So I always think, okay, we can do 5 different things. This person really is only going to be able to afford one. So I'm trying to think, what's the most critical thing that we can do for me to show results, or for at least me to be able to explain why every month, why this was so important.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get to some quotes that'll address that in a few minutes, but not everyone can do all the things all at once. So I think, and I've been thinking about this as well, and with the podcast, we have 3 levels of services we want to help people with: start, grow, recharge. I think when you're starting, you're picking the most important activities, and you might have a general sort of idea of your target market. You might have a general messaging strategy, but the activities are the most important. Once you get traction, again, these plans are cycles. You can level up and focus more on your target market. You can level up and improve your messaging strategy. So you don't need all of these things, maybe all at once at the same degree, but you need to focus on them. Because if you start going and doing activities without having any sort of messaging strategy, then you're doing what's coming later as a quote, which is random acts of marketing. So it is important, to do some of these things. For some people, that's where marketing ends, right? But this is the 1-page plan. There's 9 elements. So our next is during our leads, when they're a lead, we need a lead capturing system. So we need a system both to get leads, but then also capture who they are. We need a lead nurturing system. And then we need a sales conversion strategy. So you were just talking about, you want to make more money. You're capturing some leads. They're reaching out to you. You need a system to sort of generate that awareness and then lead the people who know who you are to how to get in touch with you. Then you need to nurture those leads. So, not take the foot off the gas.
Yeah.
Not, let them sit and die in your inbox. And then you need that conversion strategy. And again, small business starting out, these can be one sentence each. How are you going to capture your leads? How are you going to nurture your leads? How are you going to convert them into sales? As you grow and get bigger, you might have actual systems or CRM softwares to help with those. You might have nurture email sequences. You might have specific sales training, but you need those systems and strategies to manage. Like, you just put all this work to let people know you exist, and they say, oh, okay, maybe I'm interested. Now you need to bring them through to be a customer.
Nurturing is a challenge. I think for most businesses, it was what I immediately thought about when you were starting that conversation. I thought, okay, I definitely know that I'm missing the nurturing part. Getting the conversion or making a prospect a customer is something that I am good at. It's still, I think, challenging for a lot of people. It goes back to their concern about putting themselves out there and not wanting to do marketing and being too salesy. I forget the stat on this, but it's a really high number of sales get lost because people don't ask for the sale. So in this case, they don't ask for the conversion. It's honestly, I think it's over 70 something percent.
It's huge. And I know in my career, it's massive. And I would say I've had a pretty successful career, but I've been that guy. And I think what's changed for me to loop in StoryBrand is the concept of being the guide with the plan. And if you're the guide with the plan that can help the person, you have an obligation to call them to action. And I didn't really know that for a long time. Or I kind of hope people would figure out what I do and that I can help them, and then
No way.
work to give me money. That hasn't worked that well. Or it has worked a bit, but like, imagine how much better it would work if all these people who know me, I think people know I probably can help them. I know a lot of things. I'm genuinely interested in their success. If I was like, hey, here's exactly what I can do and when, and here's the fee, I would probably have more money today if I
Yes.
consistently did that. So that's part of, you're building a good product. You build these systems. People are reaching out and joining your system of their own free will. Maybe they say no to you, but by the time they get that far and they trust you, and if your stuff is good, you have to convert them, right? And if they say no, either they're saying no to themselves and they don't want to invest in their business, or you haven't done a good job of explaining your value. Again, you can fix that within your strategy.
Yeah, and I think people might know that you can help them, but that's nice guy Brian that can help them, not business owner Brian. Like, oh yeah, Brian's really smart. He knows a lot of this stuff. I bet I could ask him some questions and he'll help me out. He'll provide me a solution. But your challenge is now being like, I'm not just nice guy Brian anymore. I'm Brian that needs to make money off of the business that I am running. And I think that's probably a challenge for most people too. Like, yeah, they know that a restaurant might be able to cook them something, but if your menu doesn't include what's specifically there and what they're going to provide the customer, they're not going to ask. It's not going to. It's not just going to magically appear for them. So,
Yeah, that's good. People are just going to show up at your restaurant, and then like, you have to say, okay, well, guess what you want, and put together a recipe, and we'll see if we can make it for you. Like,
yeah,
yeah, you need that menu. So that's your conversion strategy. And then the next three parts of this one page plan are after they become a customer. And most people forget about marketing as soon as that sale's made. But you need to deliver a world class experience. So your product is part of your marketing. Then you need to learn how to increase your lifetime value of that client. So that's, again, now you have that client. How do you keep them coming back, sell them a bit more?
yeah,
And this is another conversation, but people completely forget about what a client's worth lifetime to them. And again, another conversation. I think when you know that number, it helps you create a budget for getting that lead. Because, if you're going to sell that person, say 10 grand of services a year, and they're going to be with you for 10 years, they're now worth $100,000 worth of work. So are you willing to spend, $100 to get them? Probably. Like, I would do that all day long. Um, so you have to have a system to engage them, deliver, offer them more things. And then you need to orchestrate and stimulate referrals. So that's the
Mm.
word of mouth marketing, or just direct referrals of how do you now get their friends to do it. And that has to be something that's intentional as well.
How do you get that? How do you get
I think
referrals then?
I think there's a couple ways, and again, I'm not maybe the best at it, and I've also been pushed to do some things that I don't like doing, specifically at the bank. The bank would ask you, to ask every client, like, "Hey, if you're happy, who of your friends can you introduce me to?"
Nah.
I think that works. I think success also works, like in
Yes.
marketing. If you do a great job and someone's like, "Hey, what's that guy?" or "How'd you do that?" like, then they refer you. I've helped some people wildly with like changes to their cash flow and financial situations. I've had people refer their friends. Sometimes their friends like don't, they ghost me. They don't really want to fix it yet.
Yeah.
But, if you're at a party talking about, "Oh man, I was hesitant to do marketing and then I did this and it worked," like, they're going to come to you,
Yeah.
like, and know that you're good at that. So again, the best way is to do all the things before you get to that part, but then, looping in a way to specifically ask, right?
Yeah. There are literal tangible things that you can do. Email marketing, for instance. But I just had a
Yeah.
thought about how do you actually get referral word of mouth business? I think it's three things. It's customer service, it's processes, and it's results. So customer service, are you nice? Are you friendly? Are you easy to work with? However, right? I think then it's also processes. People want to know that you have strategies and you have a way to do it. You're not making it up. It shows that you're experienced. It shows that you're professional, etc. You're not just a fly by night guy doing marketing in his basement. And then ultimately, yeah, it is results at the same time. And they don't need to be off the chart. You don't need to deliver outrageous improvement every month. 1% improvement over the course of a year is 12%. That's basic math. And that continues to grow year over year. So it doesn't need to be outrageous successes. And yeah, the conversation will now, well, like price is probably another thing. Well, no, I think results trump price
Oh yeah.
90% of the time, probably more,
Yeah, we're coming up to a quote on that too. But I think the other part of the referral, that I was listening to something this morning, loops back to your messaging strategy. And do you have a strategy that gets your customers to memorize what you do
Mm.
and gives them sound bites to their friends, right? So
Yeah,
are they
that's good.
saying like, "Hey, Matty G is a, um, you know, common sense, buzzword free digital marketer"? Boom, like that's a soundbite that people can share. Or
Yeah.
starting point digital marketing gets you started on your digital marketing. That's what they need to know. So when you're doing that, your advertising, your strategies, you don't want to be the advertising equivalent of the guy at the party, obliviously talking about himself the whole night, while his uninterested audience looks for the exits. You also don't want to leave anything to chance. So know exactly what you want your messaging to achieve, and the exact action you want people to take. So that's sort of a quote from this book, but loops into, story brand, calling people to action, just being clear and concise.
I've had a couple people that frankly don't get it say and complain about the repetitiveness of brand awareness tactics that we're utilizing, social media posts specifically. And at first, I didn't know how to answer it, like a year ago, maybe. Now I'm pretty upfront with it is repetitive, it's intentional, it's messaging. That's what marketing is. Marketing is exercise in repetition. I don't know who I stole that from. I stole it from you at least. I don't know who you told me said it, but I've
Yeah,
stolen
it's again Don Miller, and they use repetition, but it's marketing's a exercise in memorization. So
it.
you
Oh,
want your and when and you repetition works the same because when you repeat it, people then memorize what you do, right? So people can do that, right? Like,
yeah, it's the whole point. I've been paid twice in the last 30 days to explain my social media marketing methodology to people, and I now include it in my deck, that quote of like, this is intentional. We are supposed to be telling people who we are and what we sell. And if you don't like that, you are in the wrong business, and that's business, period.
awesome. I'm gonna bomb you now with a quote that I've definitely shared with you and might make some people uncomfortable, but it's definitely true. And that is most small businesses don't have a reason to exist. Their only reason to exist is to pay the bills of the owner, who is usually barely getting by or not even. From a customer's perspective, there's no compelling reason to buy from them, and they make sales just because they happen to be there. You see a lot of these businesses in retail, the only sales they have are from random walk in traffic. No one is seeking them out. No one actively desires what they have to offer. And if they weren't there, nobody would miss them. What do you think about that hard hitting quote?
That's like I never realized this until you've told me some of that for sure, but I never thought about that until now, where there's a lot of retailers or businesses, but retailers seem to be the ones that gloat. They're saying, "Oh, there's people that come in all the time and just say, "Oh, I was passing by and I didn't know you'd existed." And they're really excited about that. They're really excited that all of a sudden they've got new people in the store. That's probably because their marketing sucks. And it's probably because they're not doing marketing. It's probably because they're not using marketing as an exercise in repetition and messaging. That's not a good thing. And I again stole this from you, who told me Donald Miller said it, where I now in my decks and presentations when I'm telling people, I tell them like, not enough people know that your business exists. And it's one of the most powerful things I say in the presentation, because they just like sit back afterwards. I do it like in the first slide, and they just like sit back and like, yeah, yeah. And like
Yeah,
realize like, yeah, this is what we're talking about. Like, this is why we're here. And like they totally now just get it. And it sounds harsh that not enough people know who you are, or they don't remember that you exist, but that's just the reality of it. Like
oh
we
yeah, and it's the other thing to note. It's not easy, right? Like
no.
the nine elements on the one page, like the owner's responsible for those, and you can hire guides and helpers for different elements of that. But the chances in your first go that you get everything right is really small, and that's again part of the activity. Why having a professional who's trying different things, you know, really works. Couple tips on here. You need to have multiple sources of new leads and customers. So that could be random walk bys, could be
Yeah.
digital channels, could be other things. And most of those sources need to be paid for. And that's it's
Brian,
reliable.
how dare you?
It's true. If you pay for it, it happens. So that's like you hire Matty G Digital or Starting Point. Those posts are going out. If not, they're accountable to it. If you want to do it yourself, and you're like, oh man, it's 9 o'clock at night. I forgot to post today. What can I throw out there? That's not going to happen consistently with that repetition. So you need to pay for it. You need to pay for traffic sometimes. If you have a great message and a great product and you just need more people to get their eyes on it, you hire Matty G to like take you to the traffic store and buy some traffic. There's different tactics and ways you can work with that. Um, we're looking to, we have to pay for it. A couple times in this book, they talk about, if people were selling $100 bills for $80, you would buy as many as you could. And that's what we want to do with marketing, right? pay for leads, we pay for these activities because we're going to profit from them. So, you want to think about your marketing as I need some $100 bills for $80.
I wanted to read as many of the Candy Shop by 50 Cent lyrics as possible, but change the lyrics to I'll take you to the traffic shop. That's as far
Nice.
as I can go. Well, being appropriate though. I'm like,
That's
I might be able
awesome.
to get through a paragraph or a sentence, or no, just one sentence apparently.
And now you're going to think about that, right? Now your new thing in your deck is take you to the traffic shop,
I
right?
immediately was like, that's a good line. That's ad copy. Like, that's a Facebook post or something. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going to use that.
Yeah. More people need to know who you are. So,
Yeah, I'll take you to the traffic shop.
and this is another sort of leads us to a cool quote about a choice we make for this when we're doing it is when we first interact with those prospects, we have the opportunity to make one of three impressions with them. We can be the same as everyone else, we can be crappy, or we can be mind blowingly amazing. Most business owners choose number one. They want to be the same as everyone else, right? Real estate agents with their arms crossed, looking all serious. It's the same as everyone else. A surprisingly large number choose number two. They choose to have crappy messaging, crappy everything. And almost no one chooses number three. And the big thing for people to do is how do you be number three? How do you make it good and a better first impression?
Yeah, I've gotten really frustrated talking to a lot of people in the last couple of years about. I feel like I just explain how I'm frustrated all the time on this podcast, which is not actually true in reality, but it seems like more and more people in their marketing, they just want to talk about that they're the best. They want to say they're the best. They do this. They have the best customer service. They have the best products. They have the best services. This is not true. No one does. It's impossible to determine also. And we need to talk more about the problems that people are having in the solutions and how do we actually fix that. It's not always about just you being the best or you've done it the longest. It doesn't really matter.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, you have to talk about it. They will do business with you because you exist. On pricing, so people talk about not wanting to be too salesy, too pricing, but there's some things that we can add in as part of your marketing and profitability that relate to that pricing. One of the cool things I learned, 10% of your customers would pay you 10 times more than they're paying you now if you asked them and did the right things. 1% would pay you 100 times more. You want to find ways to attract people, and you want to have sort of standard and premium options. You want to have an ultra high ticket item that's going to be that path to upgrade for people and clearly see those contrasts. So that helps as well.
The hardest part when you have those different price offerings is to show the contrast, though. And that's something I would stress of like the importance of spending a lot of intentional time on that.
Yeah, and that's Cialdini's contrast principle. That's I don't have too many details on that, but it's definitely that. So you're right on with that contrast. And to loop back to something you said before about like little changes, remember small hinges swing big doors. You can improve, three of your numbers by 10% and increase your bottom line by 430%. So you're doing a lot of things. You're making a lot of little changes. It's not all at once, super overnight success. It's that path, and it, builds to great, really good results.
Yeah, that's interesting.
A couple where this is one of our longer podcasts, but a couple more quotes that's really good is failed and struggling businesses either neglect marketing altogether or they do random acts of marketing with no plan or structure. They try random tactics once or twice, give up when they don't see immediate success, That's not a marketing plan. That's a recipe for disaster.
I think me and you are like, we're like preaching to the choir back and forth to each other here. And I'm pretty sure we've got a podcast in the schedule for 2022 talking about this and how with marketing, you're going to spend money immediately. That's testing and figuring it out. And I don't know why there is this belief that we are going to spend money and we're going to get it perfect right out of the gate. That's
Yeah.
probably not the case with many services, especially with something that's so intangible as marketing. So like you're going to have to spend money to test and get to where you need to be. So people that pull the chute too early, it's just those people probably weren't a good fit and a partner to begin with. But there's no way you can figure out what's going on in your marketing within 30 to 60 days at the absolute earliest. And I remember early on in like starting up doing marketing on my own, someone told me a stat where if you can get someone to work with you for more than 60 days, they'll work with you for 2 years. It's the people that are like 30 to 60. Like if you just get them over that little hump, they'll be with you for 2 years. So,
Yeah.
which is almost always the case. Looking back on it now, and if I look at the people that I currently work with, I've worked with them for years, like years at a time. Some people I've worked with for 3 years this upcoming month, for over 2 years. The people that are 6 months, 8 months, that's because they just joined 6 to 8 months ago, really. And yeah, a lot of people, I'll stop working with them within 30 to 60 days, and that's about it. So
Yeah, they give up, and those are the people that work with you, and you're not doing random things. So I think, again, the key one here is like random acts of marketing, which I think is a fun term. And when you start seeing it, you'll see people doing that. Just in the interest of time here, I'm going to leave one final thought, one final quote. Um, no one knows how good your product or services are until after the sale. Before they buy, they only know how good your marketing is. So, put simply, the best marketer wins every time.
nice. And my final thought would probably be I'll take you to the traffic shop, keep going till we hit the goal.
Awesome. I like it. If you want to work with us, if you love these hard hitting quotes and need some marketing people on your team, check us out, Kawartha Small Business Podcast.ca. You can download Matt and Brian's marketing checklist there. And if you want to send us an email, do so at setitup@kawarthasmallbusinesspodcast.ca.